Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host, and joining us now is Lionel, Emmy Award-winning commentator. And I just saw his clip the other day where he was on House of Cards. I'm not a House of Cards fan because, actually, surprisingly, I don't like politics. I follow it very closely because it makes me so angry and because I want to stop it. But I'm not a big fan of it. House of Cards is just too much like real life. But I did suffer through an episode just so I could see Lionel on there. But, of course, you can follow him at I think it's Lionel, help me here. Is it at Lionel Media? Is that your Twitter handle? I should know
Twitter
this.
is at Lionel Media, but more important, what's taking the world by storm, David, is my YouTube channel, Lionel Nation.
Lionel Nation on YouTube. All right, great.
And there was no immigration problems. There was no Ninth Circus in Lionel Nation. Everybody is equally not welcome.
Well, yeah, I want to get your legal opinion here as an attorney. Yes. Let's start with standing. Okay, how do these people have standing, of course? When I looked at this, I thought, these people are foreign citizens, and how do they get to sue in court? Maybe they're not even here in this country, and yet we're being told that they can sue in court. And then I looked at the opinion, and what he said was, we're acting the states. There's two states that sued. They were the ones who said that we're going to sue on behalf of these people. And they said they're suing in their role. This is the lower court judge who stayed the order that was upheld by the Ninth Circuit yesterday. He said the states are suing in their role as parens patriae, which is parents of the nation, Latin phrase for that. Parents of the nation of the residents living within their borders. I thought, well, these are foreign citizens. And the states themselves, he said, are harmed by damage that the executive order inflicts upon operations and missions of their public universities. So this is to support the universities and foreign citizens? I mean, what's going on here?
David, I love you. God, I love you. But my friend, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you. There's nothing wrong with this decision. There's nothing wrong if they appeal this decision, it will be upheld. Nothing wrong with it. You're looking at something, not you, mind you, but a lot of people are jumping in for the first time. This is their first rodeo, and they're looking at this and go, what the hell? What? Standing? Yes, yes, yes. Here's what happened. These people are so smart. The Ninth Circus, as they're called, by the way. And a little bit of background. The ABA in about 2010 did a grading. There's 13 circuits total. Remember, district court judges are the trial court in federal court. That's the first level. Mm-hmm. Above that is circuit courts of appeal. There's 13 of them. And then the Supreme Court. Of the 13, actually 12 plus 1, of the 13, at the bottom in terms of most reversed, were the Federal Circuit, which doesn't really apply, and the Ninth Circus, as they're lovingly referred to. So they do have a bit of history. Not to mention, since 1941 or so, there's been a move, David, to break this circuit up. It's, as Donald Trump would say, huge. It takes sometimes 18 months to deliver a decision. There's just too many cases, too many states, too few judges. So that being said, here's what would have been the problem. There is nothing wrong with what they wrote. I know. I'm not smoking anything. I'm not drunk. Trust me. What I wanted to know was, which I thought was the most egregious, was how, in the name of God, would any judge rule that this was a ban on Muslims, number one, or a violation of the Establishment Clause, where one particular religion is basically singled out versus another, irrespective of whether they're citizens or not, because a lot of these are naturalized citizens and green cards, and that's not a problem. But I thought, here's where the problem is. Work with me on this. They were going to say, well, Donald Trump said, as candidate Trump, along with his boy wonder, Rudy Giuliani, they said that Muslims were the problem, that this was going to be a Muslim ban, and that they were going to make provisions to make exceptions for Christians. And I thought, that's it. If these people are stupid enough to base a decision, an Establishment Clause basis, as striking down this, and by the way, it's very confusing. It's a stay of the ban. It's the ban, and then Robart banned the ban, and then these people are going to stay the ban on the ban. So it's very, very confusing. But if I thought, if they do that, they're through, they're toast, they're Elvis, they're finished. You know what they did? They were so smart. They referred to it. They said, you know, he did mention these things, but we're not going to base the opinion on that.
Yeah.
So they knew what they were doing. Now, here's the good news. I want everybody to calm down, okay? Calm down. I swear to you, I don't want to mention any names, but I was watching some characters on Fox News, and I like a lot of these guys, but I'm wondering, what law universe are they in? This is their first bad case they've ever read. You mentioned Justice Taney. How about the internment cases? We can go down the list. Okay.
Yeah, Dred Scott. Yeah. We've had the Supreme Court said that there was no First Amendment protection for movies in the early part of the 20th century. And it stood to the 50s, so, whatever.
They've done some ridiculous stuff. But what about Griswold? Griswold that said that basically adults couldn't use contraception. I mean, stop it. Look.
Yeah. And then Dred Scott, of course. Yeah, we got to mention Dred Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, that was then. This is now. Here's what I would advise President Trump. I would say, you know how good this is, right? You're going to now turn to the people. Politically now, you hate politics, and I do too, but politically, here's what he's going to do. And he's a master of this. He's going to say, well, folks, you see what happens? You see why you need me? I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to protect you and our borders, and these folks decide they're going to strike me down. And I love when they say, the commander-in-chief. He's only the commander-in-chief to the military. He's not my commander-in-chief, and he's not yours, because we ain't in the military. But, so what he's going to do is he's going to say, folks, I'm going to need you more now, more than ever. And if this were to go to the Supreme Court, remember a couple of things now. What could happen next is, and I'll get to the punchline, but they could either appeal this to an en banc, E-N-B-A-N-C, the entire 11 judges of the Ninth Circuit, as we call it, or eventually to the Supreme Court. But there's a 4-4 tie. Remember, Scalia, nobody's replacing him. So now President Trump can look to everybody and say, this is why I need Gorsuch now more than ever. Now do you know why this is important? Now do you know why you need me? Now do you know? It's perfect. But in the meantime, and I was saying this from the beginning, and I'm proven right because my sources and what I'm reading shows me that I thought all their Ninth Circuit did was give me, the president, a roadmap as to what I have to do. Clean the language up, what you object to. Great. Here comes another one. Here's another executive order. You don't like that? Here's another one, and another one, and another one. And I'm going to bury you in executive orders. You won't be able. I want you, the Ninth Circuit, to tell me I can't issue any more executive orders because I want a showdown. Now,
Well, while we're on executive orders, Lionel, let me ask you this, because we had on MSNBC, we had Jonathan Turley go, law professor from George Washington University, and he doesn't agree with the order. He said he thought it was a poorly crafted order in addition, and it was a terrible rollout, okay? But he said, I still think the law favors administration once you get to the merits. He said, I don't agree with some of those cases, but the courts have been highly deferential to the president, and they generally don't second guess. But here's the key thing he said, Lionel. He said the Obama administration argued the president's judgment on the administration was largely unreviewable, and they went with that. Then he argued that he could even refuse or order the failure to enforce immigration laws. And for all the Democrats objecting now, says Jonathan Turley, I didn't hear a peep of objection from them when just last year these same arguments were being made by the same Justice Department. So when Obama says, I'm not going to enforce the immigration laws, and I have, I have power here and it's unreviewable, they're fine. But then when Trump says, I'm going to enforce the immigration laws or I'm going to have some other tests here, I'm going to more carefully vet these. No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
David, you better calm down. It's Friday. You're going to lose your mind. Let me tell you a couple. Here's my favorite to show you hypocrisy. And that's the part that gets me, hypocrisy. Look, just don't. What's that? Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Look, I understand.
Outlaw Josie Wales, yeah.
Here's my favorite one, just in that line. How these people say, oh, I declare, Ivanka Trump, Kellyanne Conway's going on TV. She's violating the ethics rules. Praise God, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Now, the same people that said, hey, what about Hillary Clinton? Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, Clinton Health Access Initiative. What are you talking about? Cartels, server game, whatever. But Nordstrom's? Okay, fine.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, too? Again, the double standard, Lionel.
I know.
We had Michelle Obama go to Subway with a couple of athletes and all the uniformed people behind her and did a commercial for Subway. And that was the whole context. She made her comments in terms of defending Donald Trump's reactions publicly on his Twitter account. Yeah.
Remember Beergate? Remember Beergate with Professor Gates and Obama and had the beer, and he mentioned this is a good beer, and he mentioned the beer, and then Jimmy Carter and Billy Beer.
That's right. That's a good one. Billy Beer. Yeah, that's right.
Where have people been? All right, that doesn't matter. But here's the bottom line. The way they did it, I mean, by the way, I would, if I were teaching appellate advocacy at a law school, I would say, listen to this very interesting phone conversation. And this is not how to appeal the case. First rule, number one, pardon my French, I think it was Blackstone who said, don't piss the judge off. Don't tell a judge what he can't do. Don't dare them to say, oh, by the way, justices, don't you think you have the authority to overrule the king? Oh, please stop it. They should have crafted it. All they had to do was simply do it differently. But, David, let me reiterate for the millions and millions of people who are watching us now, okay? Now, do you realize that if 90% of all of your internet capabilities went out, you would still beat MSDNC by 10,000%? Okay. What's going to happen is Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He's going to say, I'm going to give you another one. And I'm going to give you another executive order. Now, here's something which is very interesting. And remember, let's be true juridical purists here, David. Just because we may like Trump, and by the way, I didn't vote for him. I voted for me. I'm standing up for, I'm finding myself in a strange way, David, defending him more often because what's being thrown at him is absolutely absurd. So people think, boy, I never knew you were such a Trump fan. It's like, I'm defending not him per se, but this insanity. Look,
yeah, like the Nordstrom Ivanka stuff and Kellyanne Conway. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not crazy about this guy, Mnuchin and these others, and he was talking about torture. And we'll get to that in a moment. Well, look, he still works for me, and he better do a good job for me, but we'll get to that in a moment. But as far as this goes, the whole notion, David, explain this one to me. If I said, let's say you were the President Knight, with all due respect, sir, where do you get these 7 countries from? What is this? Why not Saudi Arabia? Why not? And here's the irony. This is the part, talk about irony. These people who say, this was a Muslim ban. He goes, it's not a Muslim ban. If you want to ban Muslims, ban Muslims. Say it. But he didn't. Or mention all the Muslim countries like Indonesia and Saudi Arabia. So I would ask people, I would say, let me get this straight. You're upset because he didn't ban? You want him to ban more? You're upset with the fact that he's banning Muslims because he didn't ban enough? Would you be? They don't even know what they're saying. So,
well, that's a good point right there, Lionel, because he said the 7 countries, and I'm reading from the arguments there. They said they've been targeted because they, quote, have significant terrorist presence and they were safe havens for terrorism. Right. And it was Barack Obama that went to war with these 7 countries, okay? We're dropping bombs on them. We're sending troops in. And so if they're not dangerous, why isn't the left saying, let's stop the war instead of bringing in the immigrants?
Because they're saying you're talking about people who live in these countries versus, look, let me tell you something. Do you really think, David, these people give a damn about Muslims and immigration? I mean, do you really look, let's assume, God forbid, the troubles in Northern Ireland were up again. They would say, you're banning Catholics, aren't you? Say, I'm not banning Catholics. You missed the point.
I'm banning people who are blowing up buildings.
Let's say we're after the mafia, and we're going after Italians. No, that's not it. Look, these people are sworn to stop this president over everything he does. Did you see the other day at the Washington Post, they must be saying, hey, boss, I've got an idea. Can I write it? Do it. Don't you want to hear the story? No, write it. Just write it. Keep shoveling the coal into this runaway train. They had an article that Trump's a bad misspeller. What? Print it. What else you got? He walks around in a bathrobe. Print it. Next. They don't care what it is.
Yeah.
They don't care what this is. And what they're also doing, which is the most important and the most critical to understand right now, is that this has nothing to do with anything that these people care about, terrorism or Muslims or whatever. They don't care about that. Look, bottom line is simply this. He just scored beautifully in this. You can't, look what this guy's done every single day. He has more executive orders. Let me just say about that, by the way, before we get too complacent about this. I'm not crazy about executive orders. I don't like PDDs. I don't like signing statements. I don't like, if you go back in this notion of the unitary executive, this goes way back, not way back, but it was really big during Cheney and Addington's days.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I would like to see the legislature do more. They've abdicated their authority not only to the executive branch, they also abdicated to the judicial branch, but even more importantly, they've abdicated to the bureaucracies. They let the bureaucracies write the rules. I mean, when Nancy Pelosi said we got to pass it so we can find out what's in it, they were just giving broad authority to these bureaucracies, and the bureaucracies are going to come up with the devils and the details for everybody. That's the real issue.
Let me give you another one for you. This is going to blow your mind. I'm a lawyer by profession, right? Licensed lawyer, trial lawyer, and I do all kinds of trial work. Personal injury, criminal. Here's one that I came up the other day, and I saw this. And it was a case involving somebody who was an illegal alien. Illegal. I mean illegal, not somebody who overstayed or somebody who was the child of an... No, I mean somebody who is as illegal as you can get.
Yeah.
Who basically gets hurt, sues for personal injury, gets a decent settlement, and now wants to enforce it. And you're thinking, what? Wait a minute. What? An illegal?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And if you were to dare bring up this fact, or dare involve yourself in maybe threatening him with any kind of action, you could be looking at perhaps contempt of court.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Lionel. We got to take a quick break. Lionel, I want to go back to the thing that we started here with the standing, because I thought something that was interesting came out by Japan Times talking about the same Judge Robard in Washington. And, of course, that's where Microsoft is. And Microsoft had a case where they're protesting the fact that the Justice Department wants to get information of Microsoft's customers. And Microsoft wants to tell them that the Justice Department is looking at you and is put in order for your information. And this Judge Robart, said, well, okay, I agree that you have a First Amendment right to speak to your customers, but as a third party, Microsoft can't assert constitutional rights for someone else. And when we go back to look at this case, at the same judge, he's saying that these states who are acting as parents of the nation have the ability, I don't see how they've got any more connection to these foreign citizens than Microsoft does to its customers to stand. Yeah.
Couple of things here. First, let me just say, I concur on Roger Stone's book as well. This is a barn burner, a stem winder, and a page turner. This guy, he is, I love him. I mean,
he knows where the skeletons are buried, doesn't he?
Oh, put it this way, you don't want him as your enemy. Look, I will tell you things, and I'm reading this, and I suggest everything. In fact, I did 2 videos on Lionel Nation. You can read them, and I went through it step by step. I went through this case. It's not very long, but I went through this standing. And the issue is simply this. Does the state of Minnesota, does the state of Washington, do they have an actual standing? Do they have it? Do they suffer? And they said, yes. How's that? Our universities.
Yeah, there we go back to the universities again.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Listen, let me tell you where standing. This is the best one ever. I got to tell you this quick story. Remember Newdow years ago? There was a case of the father who objected to his kid saying under God. Mm-hmm. It was the Ninth Circuit.
Oh, yeah.
Remember this? Under God. Michael Newdow, the atheist, and he was offended. Right. Okay, fine. And Ninth Circuit, I thought was spot on because I think under God is unconstitutional for a host of reasons. I don't want to go into it because it's a law. The Pledge of Allegiance is a law, which most people don't know. Anyway,
make a long story 20 seconds, short. Lionel.
Okay, so the Supreme Court granted cert. When it went, they said, guess what, Newdow? You don't have standing because your kid doesn't live with you. They granted cert, and then counted on standing.
Yeah.
So standing drives me
They
nuts.
waive it as they wish. That's Lionel. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find him at Lionel Nation on YouTube. Thank you, Lionel.
This has been adopted as of 2017 by the Department of Defense. All 4 branches of the military, Combat One. And guess who in the spring of 2017 has the exclusive right to sell this to everybody else but the military? Infowars.com. I want to commend Q and Patrick and the rest of our team. I want to commend Combat One for getting the big Pentagon deal. And I want to thank them for supporting us because they know we support America. We are the exclusive source of Combat One skin and muscle optimization, field foam, field spray, skin and muscle optimization, and broad spectrum hygiene tactical bath. Contains 8 pre-moistened cloths. Ladies and gentlemen, these are incredibly affordable, and they have patented proprietary systems. That's why it's been adopted by the Pentagon, by the Defense Department, system-wide. I'm gonna go over some of the numbers, some of the proven statistics and the claims that Combat One can make right now. Never before has the public been able to access this new Combat One military-grade hygiene technology used by special operations to maintain hygiene during survival situations. Studied for safety and effectiveness by St. John's Medical Research Institute, St. Jude's, and the American Journal of Infection Control. The technology behind Combat One wipes kills bad bacteria while leaving beneficial skin bacteria unharmed. That's the key buffer. The toxic wipes, the sanitizers kill everything, including your immune system. They lower your fertility. It's all admitted. Combat One is able to do this naturally by only targeting the bad stuff. And again, it's all patented. It's super secret. 12 years, Special Forces testing it. This is something every info warrior needs to order, needs to have in their home, needs to use in their daily lives, whether it's cleaning your guns or your own skin or when you're out camping. This is the game changer. The entire family of Combat One is available exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com.
Just coming back from the river where I was using one of our water filtration straws, a certain device we sell here at InfoWarsStore.com, and I had smacked my knuckle pretty hard the other day with my knife after cleaning one of the animals. So I want to use some Combat One foam, show you guys that we actually use it, how well it works. This wound's been open for about 5 days now. I just dipped it in and out of the river, so just to better safe than sorry. Once I let that soak in, I'll wrap it up, field dress, and nice and clean again.
And it certainly is coming to the rescue with Combat One, born in America, made in America, and now distributed by InfoWars to America.